12th portions. Whereas if we talk about for the board perspective, it only has the 12th portion. So how exactly is this the same? That is where the next strategy comes in. That is, first, for the JEE preparation, focus on the 12th portion, right? In the last month or so for your JEE main preparation, you would have anyways gone through the 11th portion. Now strengthen your 12th portion. I'll walk you through with that. So strengthen with your 11th portion, 12th portion. So that is going to help with your school as well as your JEE. So you can set aside nearly 20% time for the textbook and 80% time for solving questions. Solve questions from past year papers, solve questions from sample papers, and solve questions from ask items. Do it. Do as many preparation, as much solving as possible, and be diligent and try to not cheat on yourself. Right? Okay. So based on that, since we are currently in February, so I'll start with February. So the preparation plan for February would go like, you start with, let's say, physics, chemistry, and maths. I've taken up some topics from 11th portion also, and some topics from the 12th portion. The remaining portions from the 11th portion, I'll be taking it up in in April. So physics, if we start with the kinematics or kinetics portions, followed by magnetic effects, magnetism, electromagnetic induction. If you want, you can also do the electrostatics part and the optics. If we talk about chemistry, solutions, coordination compounds, transition elements, metallurgy, these are mainly topics from the 12th portion. GOC is a topic from 11th, but it is obviously needed from the organic chemistry perspective because you get majority of the questions from the reaction mechanism part, from the stability part, from the GOC, right? Along with the states of matter, which is a very easy topic. From mathematics, again taking portions from 11th, like straight lines, pair of lines. Functions is going to be relations and functions from the 11th portion and the 12th portion. Then taking up the topics of matrices, determinants, and along with the differential calculus. This is again a way of time managing the basic things so that you are able to cover everything during the course of the month. If you are faster, then you can always pull it up. The portion for March, you can do it in February itself. But whatever you do, you should be focused on that. You should be in a position to handle all the things correctly. You should be able to handle all the questions clearly. Going further for March, let's say you will have more of topics from 12th. Alternating current, oscillation, properties of matter. Oscillation again is from 11th. Properties of matter again is from 11th. If we talk about chemistry, it is more to do with the 12th portion. Mathematics, again, it is from the 12th portion. Finally, in April, which actually you could have done in January also, will be the major topics from 11th from physics, rotational dynamics, heat and thermodynamics, work, energy, power, and gravitation, and units and dimension. Units and dimension, students lose marks. They should not be losing it in the dimension analysis and the error analysis. Mole concept, stoichiometry is a very, very important concept. Students lose marks there because they do not study that clearly in 11th. And it is not going to be asked much to any extent to be precise in 12th school examination. This is where the students lose marks. So you need to focus on that. Followed by chemical energetics, solid state, nuclear and surface chemistry, electrochemistry, and ionic equilibrium. Maths is a mix of, again, 11th and 12th, probability, PNC, binomial theorem, quadratic equation, complex numbers, and so on. So this is, roughly speaking, the plan you should be having it. If you feel, no, I need to add more to it, and you are in a position to take that up, you should be doing that. Along with that, these are other things which you should be taking up in April. So April will have the major chunk of it. If you are able to bring in more in March, that will be great. But March is when you will be having your board examination. So you may not have enough time to do the last minute revisions for JEE. That's the reason I have kept the majority of the topics in your April. So there are approximately 24 broad topics in maths, 12 topics from class 11th and 12 from 12, and similarly for physics and chemistry. So that's the reason I have tried to divide it carefully among the 90 days that you have, the 3 months roughly that we are talking about. We don't really have 3 months because February has already started. Now, detailing about the strategy, it's very important that we are not just doing it for the sake of doing it. So you have to roughly allocate 3 days for each topic. On the first day, you should ideally be studying the lesson thoroughly, just doing a revision completely. The second day, and basically practicing the past year questions of JEE Main. And you can also do some questions of JEE Advance. On the third day, you should be taking mock tests. But provided you are done with your syllabus completion for your board examination, when you're doing it, you should be able, whenever you're trying to do, you should be in a position to do at least 12 hours. I know it's not possible with 100% efficiency for 12 hours at a stretch, but you can take breaks, and with a 70% efficiency at least, either you wake up late night or study till late night, or study early in the morning. It's completely up to you. How do you plan it out, right? But you should plan to study for at least 12 hours a day. So that was the first thing. What exactly is the plan? So once you know what is the plan, then comes the writing. As I said some time back, when we are focused on JEE, right? Our methodology or our thinking is that we have to just mark it. We have to solve it in rough and we have to just mark it. Remember, that is where the students lose focus, when they don't write down the, because for your school examination there are going to be more subjective questions. So it's important that if you know the things and you're not in a very good habit of writing it down, so what you should do is just write down the important points. For example, if it's a 3 mark question, right, you should, whenever you're reading the question, at least 4 points should come to your mind. So the first thing is that write down those 4 points, keep some proper space, right? And then elaborate. Whenever you're writing those 4 points, highlight it with another pen. This way, it's going to improve the presentation. And even if you do say spelling mistake or a small silly mistake, examiners will ignore that. But if you have so many crossings and everything, it's going to put a very bad impression. So JEE is a different way of presentation. When you talk about school exams, it's a completely different way. So presentations are very important. When you're drawing something, your marking should be very clear. And therefore, you should read the paper as soon as you get it. Read it for 15 minutes, mark out your whenever you're reading it, the complete answers should come to your mind. Just mark those questions in which you know the answers, right? Attempt those questions first. Then go over to those questions which are not completely clear. So therefore, practicing subjective questions is very, very important. So I've just tried to put up some question banks which you can use. Oswald objective and subjective book, similarly Ask Atkins book. This is going to give you detailed solutions, mind maps, and what all are the important questions that you may be expecting. You can also talk to Ask Atkins expert. They will tell you what are the this year's board pattern expected questions also. So this time the gap between JEE Mains and the boards is less based on the tentative days, but you still have enough time, because between any subjective examination, any two school examination, you will have enough number of days wherein you can balance out both of them. So don't put stress on yourself, but balance and prioritize instead. It's very important that this should not affect your brain, right? Mental health is also very important. So when you are prioritizing something, you should not take so much stress that you get a panic attack. Never do that. But you should not be taking it so lightly as well that you lose focus and you're not able to do anything. Either case is bad. So you have to put a balance between them. You have to prioritize which one is more important at what time. Correct? Now, once you have done everything, once you are able to get it, and you are roughly scoring around 70% or 80%, correct? You should remember that for the JEE Mains, you need to be in the 75% category. You need to get at least 75% in your school examination for you to figure out that whether you get a chance to sit in JEE Advance. Basically, it's always top 20 percentile. If you talk about CBSE, you should ideally be thinking of 85% and above to have any chance of sitting through JEE Advance. If not, even if you sit through JEE Advance, you will not be considered if your percentage is not in the top 20 percentile. So school boards are very easy as compared to the JEE. So subjects are easy. It's just that you have to figure out where is it that you're not scoring well, right? So that is where you have to put in the efforts and you have to study the subjects which are important so that you're able to clear the cutoff. Okay, going ahead. Both the important boards, CBSE and ICSE, releases sample papers. So sample papers will give you an idea what is the thing that CBSE is looking at this year, right? What are the type of questions? Is maths more calculation heavy or is it more HOTS heavy, right? When we say HOTS, higher order thinking skill. Similarly, it may be possible that even the MCQs have some HOTS questions which are not straightforward. You have to do a couple of steps before you get the answer. It can be possible the assertion reasoning questions are straightforward, right? The assertion reasoning is generally not that straightforward. If you understand the concept, only then you'll be able to do it. The last section, section E, if we talk about, which is the case-based questions. Case-based questions, you can never expect what is it that is going to come. But remember that you should not go with a particular frame of mind. Okay, these are the case-based questions that you can get anything, right? You can get anything under the sun, and you should be in a position to solve it. The answer is there in the passage and will have very small application from what you have studied. So you should try to focus on that. So sample papers is something that you have to practice. So they replicate the entire board exam. And what you should do is that you to time it and take it as a mock paper and figure out where you stand. So just before your final exams, the sample papers will give you the final tip, right? So it's going to, so if you do it, it's going to help you out. I've just given some idea because I prefer to use Oswald. That's the reason I have given it. Now, after the board exams are done, right, there is no possibility of you resting. It's going to be the JEE main second attempt that's going to come up. Correct. So you cannot again leave that, okay, now my boards are done. I will take some, I will have some relaxation and then I will prepare. You do not have that much time. So you cannot get lenient of the exam, but you have to quickly start, regroup yourself and start the JEE preparation. So figure out which are the topics that were not covered in the textbook, but you expect it to come in the JEE exams, right? Also study if you have any topics from 11th that you're not clear with, that is pending. So study that. Revise the class 11 syllabus thoroughly, because so far in the last 1.5 months, 2 months, you have been doing mainly the 12th portion. Even for your boards, even for your board practicals, before that you would have had your pre-boards. Every time is the class 12th. So you did not get much time to do the 11th syllabus. 11th syllabus is also important to revise the 11th syllabus. Then comes the mock test. So sit through the paper, feel as if that you're giving the final board exam, right? After you're done with all your revision, start giving the mock tests and figure out where are the topics that you're getting stuck. Just keep revising that, but be very careful. Don't be too casual. Okay, examiner will give us marks. No, cut your marks wherever even there is a slight chance. You'll get to figure out which is the topic that you need to revise it again. Okay. And don't get overconfident. The mock test will help you get familiar with the exam pattern. So you should do how to manage your time and pressure of the exam. I always say finish off the exam in 2 hours, 30 minutes, so that you have 30 minutes to revise everything. Whatever you have done, just revise. See if there are any mistakes. You will get some mistakes for sure. So what are the general strategies? The general strategies, when we talk about, everything is about time management. So many a days back, I was just talking to a student. She's very good with her handwriting. She's very good with her presentation, but she's not able to complete the paper. Why? Because she's following a trend. I'll start from the question one and then I'll go. The board does not tell you that. You can take a particular question, finish all its parts, but it does not tell you that you cannot jump the sections. You can. And if you know which are the topics, which are the questions that you are completely thorough, attempt those first. It's going to give you time, right? Similarly, if we talk about from a JEE perspective, maths is always good. Like this time also JEE main, the maths was lengthier. Chemistry is the shortest. So you should try to figure out if you can finish the chemistry portion in 30 to 45 minutes, not more than that. So that you should plan it out this way that you have more than 1 hour 15 minutes with you for maths only. So to figure out for physics and chemistry, remaining time you have to give it for maths because maths is going to be lengthy. So therefore you have to train your mind. So you have to have focus sessions. In that focus session, you just focus on what you're going to study during that time. And you have to give yourself a challenge that in this time, I'm going to finish this completely and come whatever be the type of questions I'm going to attempt it. Having said that, there should always be regular breaks. If you continuously study, it's not going to go into your head, right? Along with that, once you are done with doing that, just evaluate yourself on that particular topic. Figure out where exactly you have got it right or where exactly you have got it wrong, right? So you can figure out the preparation levels. And based on that, you can make necessary adjustments. Then it's very important that we do not become negative. Under any circumstance, it's not the end of the world, but you should always be positive. So cultivate a positive attitude and set a realistic goal. If you are currently at pre-boards somewhere around 60, 65, don't expect that you would be in a position to get 95 above. Obviously, there is a increase that happens, but provided you study during these days that of break that you get, right? But from 65, you can go up to 85 to some to up to 90, not more than that. Had it been that you were close to around 75, it's very realistic picture to get up to 100. But with a 65, you'll not be able to go up to that, right? So you have to be very realistic. So you have to set realistic targets, but don't get overawed. When you are studying, let's say you have studied for 1 and 1.5 hours at a stretch, take a break. Just move out, just walk, take a walk, come back, have a clear, focused mind. Maybe you want to meditate, do that, and then again start studying. And if you're able to achieve something, let's say you have set a target of 2 hours to finish a particular chapter, and you're able to do it in 1.5 hours, just celebrate yourself. Pat your back that, okay, I could do it. So I'll be in a position to do it. Always say that you're good, you're great. Nothing can take away that greatness from you. So just keep chanting, you're good, you're great. And everything that's going to happen to you is going to be great, right? So always celebrate the milestones. Then the final thing that I'd like to say is that it's very important for anything to be completed properly is if you are strategic in your planning. Haphazard way of doing it is not going to yield anything. Neither will you be able to get good marks in your boards, nor will you be able to get very good result in your JEE. So you should be completely strategic. Neither you can be laxative. Okay, it's board examination, so it's fine. I will be able to do it. No, boards are equally important. If you don't get proper marks in boards, if you are not in the top 20 percentile of your boards, you'll not be able to get good, you'll not be able to sit through for JEE Advance. And your final rank will also be determined based on your marks in your JEE main, your 12th board marks, and your JEE Advance marks. So you cannot take anything lightly. But taking this thing to your head and just getting overawed is not going to help. So you have to have a balance that includes self care, relaxation, along with rigorous studies. So, whosoever has stopped the examination or have got good results would have done rigorous studies, but they would have also taken care of their health. So, it's a very important, it's imperative that you understand that everything has to go hand in hand. Many students take the very drastic step of committing suicide. No, it's fine. It's just an entrance examination. You will do something, but if you slog it out right now, life is going to be much easier later on. Else, if you are take it life easy right now, you have to slog it much many times later on. So it's up to you how you want to put it. But don't take it to your head, right? So, this is a strategic way of understanding what you should do and what you should not in the last few months that you have before your final exams, before your board exams, and before your JEE exams. Hopefully, I have been able to motivate you, make you think about where you want to go, and based on that, you can always feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to do some counseling sessions, explain you the way forward in the going ahead. Yep. Thank you. Have a good day.
Hi guys, very good evening to all of you. Uh, uh, Today, actually, we're going to start with the chapter, namely arithmetic progressions. Okay, this chapter has got good weightage in your CBSE board exams, and also this chapter is also for your grade 11 as well. So just have a look, okay? And I'm going to share my screen. You can share your doubts, you can share your questions, whatever you have to, or your answers in the live chat section. Okay, so let's start with. Okay, okay, uh, okay, guys. So first of all, we need to discuss what does an arithmetic progression mean. Okay, so let me write in heading here: arithmetic progression. Right? Fine. So what is an arithmetic progression? Simple thing. Simple thing. It is actually a sequence, right? It's actually a sequence which is of the form of A1, A2, A3, A4, so on. Okay. Now, what's the property? Why? What is the thing that we can say that this progression, this sequence is not an arithmetic progression? That the difference between the succeeding term and the preceding term is always constant, right? Okay, let us suppose you have a3 minus a2. This is also constant. Okay, let us suppose you have a4 minus a3. This thing is also constant, right? Okay, so this type of sequence is known as arithmetic progression, and this constant is known as the cons common difference, right? I think you people know about it. Okay, any confusion? You can let me know in the chat. I'm here. Okay, or we can say in this way as well. If I have the first term as a, this is the first term. If a constant is added to the every preceding term means the term which is the preceding term and the succeeding term. Okay, if we add a constant to the every preceding term, let us suppose you have a1 is equal to a, so a2 will be equal to a plus. Add some constant, let us suppose I have